Before there was a path, she paved one. Before the world believed a black woman could anchor sports on national television, Jayne Kennedy did it. And she did it with grace. She did it with brilliance and unapologetic beauty. Welcome to Amazing Women and Men of Power, Legends and Icons yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I'm your host, Raven, the Talk Show Maven, and today, once again, we are rolling out the red carpet for someone whose legacy helped shape the way for so many. Not just in front of the camera, y'all, but behind the courage. Our very special guest today, well, she was the first black woman to win Miss Ohio USA in 1970, a title that opened doors most women back then couldn't even see, let alone believe. She bold-faced every barrier when she stepped into the anchor seat of CBS, the NFL Today in 1978, becoming one of the first, did I say one of the first? Yes, I did. One of the first black women to co-host a national sports show. Since then, she's worn many crowns: model, actress, broadcaster, fitness pioneer, commercial spokesperson, NAACP Image Award winner, Emmy-winning sports journalist, Legend Award honoree, and now a new author. And that's just to name a few. You see, after decades of blazing the trail, she returns to us in her new memoir, Plain Jane, a powerful, unflinching reflection on beauty, pain, scandal, love, faith, and finding her voice again. As the great Robin Roberts, news anchor, says, Jane's courage to share her truth is a gift to us all. And in the words of Tamron Hall, get ready, y'all, because you know what? She says her interview with Jayne was one of the most powerful interviews she's ever done. And I tell you, this is so exciting for us to have her here. Lady Jayne is here. The memoir is out and now available on Amazon and wherever books are sold. So you know what I like to say, if you stand and sit down, and if you sit and stand up, and you know what, we're going to throw in a new one, because if you're driving, you better pull over and give a warm virtual round of applause for the one, the only, the phenomenal Jayne Harrison Kennedy Overton. She's here. Lady Jayne is here, y'all.
You crazy girl. Thank you. We go way back, guys. If you're listening in, Raven and I go way back. I first met her when she was doing a show, and we actually came up with the name together from the kitchen table.
Yeah, Careers from the Kitchen Table. Absolutely. Yep. And you were my first celebrity interview. You remember that? That was 2006.
I do. I do.
Yeah, and you introduced me to Claudette. Oh, my God. So that was over a decade.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, but you know, you kept pushing, and look where you are.
I kept pushing. Absolutely, you've been my inspiration. Oh my God! And you know, you supported me right off the bat. We just clicked, and we were both from Ohio, Cleveland.
Yeah, and I think I rooked you into doing 2 interviews, one with my best friend Claudette Robinson, and one with my sister Christine Chapweski.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, both of them are very dear to me, especially Claudette. Yes. Okay, so it's been nearly 2 decades later, and I remember on that interview, you told me about Plain Jane. You were going to do it. You said that. I think your kids, I forget the last one that was in school, 1 or 2, and they were doing soccer and stuff. But you mentioned that you were working on a book called Plain Jane. Here you are. How does it feel?
You know, it's just amazing that it's done, because I actually started 25 years ago. So yeah, I was still working on it when I ran into you. And I've learned so much. The process was to learn along the way. I knew I wanted to do my story, but I wanted it to be in entirety. I didn't want it to be just about entertainment, and I didn't want it to be just about sports. I wanted people to know me and my family, because they made me who I am. And so to do that, I had to live a lot of the pieces, because my journey wasn't over yet when I started in the year 2000. And so here I am at 2025, and I finally got to the point where I said, okay, I'm done. And I'm ready to show the world. Oh gosh, so many parts of me the love, the anger, the success,
Everything.
all of it, everything.
Yeah.
And it's all in the book.
Yeah.
I originally, when I was still writing, I had 875 pages with more pages to go. And then Disney told me I could only use 350. And I said, oh my God.
Well, it's great. I have the audio, I have the book, and I also have the Kindle version.
Oh, good for you. I love that one.
I love the Kindle version, and I love the audio. I love all of it. It's good. And we're going to get into your book, but I got a couple things I want to talk about before we get to that. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. I know I read before, but I can't quite remember now. Are you originally from Cleveland, Ohio, or what part?
I was born in Washington, D.C.
Oh, Washington. Okay.
We moved to Cleveland when I was 9 months old.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved when I was 5 years old to Wycliffe. And that's where I grew up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wycliffe. Okay. Now I was East Cleveland, so I never actually knew where Wycliffe was. I heard about it or not. So how was it growing up there compared to being in California now?
Okay, well, there's so many roads I could take to answer that question.
I'll take one or two.
Number one is the weather, and because it's snowing deep in Cleveland right now.
Yeah.
So that was something that was a very different, a new experience for me.
Okay.
And in Cleveland, it was my childhood. I left Cleveland when I was only 18. So that was my childhood. I did not experience that in Los Angeles. So, those are two different dichotomies. And, that was my family life. And that's why I decided to write the book in these different parts. Originally, I had set it out so that it was like a football game. First quarter, second quarter, third, and fourth. And the first quarter was about growing up as Jane Harrison in Wycliffe, Ohio. And that talks about my family life. And it was so amazing for me because I read a lot of memoirs, and so many of them seem to have the author coming from a place of a horrifying childhood and a lot of anxiety, a lot of finding yourself, a lot of inner search. And my childhood, I was so blessed. I had a great mother and father. I had a wonderful extended family. And I had no complaints. And my parents just kept pushing me to success and saying, you can do anything you want to do, Jane.
Yeah.
And they supported every single thing I wanted to do. And I think that was the reason that I was successful, because that's what they instilled in me. And I treasured my mom and my dad for that.
Now, your dad, he's no longer with us. I know you did a memoir to your parents, and I think your mom is 95 or somewhere.
My mom is 95, still kicking storm too.
Still cooking. How's she doing?
She looks fabulous. She's got some memory issues.
Yeah.
But she looks fabulous. She holds a great conversation. I showed to her my book when it first came out. That was the first thing I did. Is I flew to Cleveland to show Mom the book.
Yeah.
I'm still her baby girl.
He's still your baby girl. Well, I remember reading, and I can say reading and listening because I've been doing both in your book. I forget which chapter, but where you talked about that you always knew you were going to be in the movies or a star or something like that, right?
Well, when I was a little girl, yes, I used to go around with shorts that had palm trees on them. Here I am in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm wearing palm trees on my shorts. And I had cat eye glasses with rhinestones on the tips. And so I would run around and tell everybody I was going to go to Hollywood and be a movie star.
Yeah.
And my sister yelled at me and she said, "Stop that, Jane. You don't know what you're talking about." And then my grandma said, "Leave Fancy Prancy alone. If she wants to go to Hollywood and be a movie star, she can. She can be anything she wants." And even when I did decide to leave Cleveland, right after I was married to Leon, we decided not to get settled in an apartment, but to just go then, because once you're settled, you might not go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a big jump. And so we thought that we were going to go right after we got married. And I told my mom we were standing in the kitchen. She was washing dishes, and so I joined her. And there was a lot of silence. And then I said, Mom, we're going to be moving to California. And she didn't even miss a beat. She said, Jayne, that's fine. She said, I know that there are great things for you to do, and it's not here.
Oh, that's a great mom, guys. And your dad had a little different feeling about it. Did I hear that correct?
My dad, who was always against anything.
Yeah, and Leon. Yeah.
He was always supporting me, but, he was very, very, very hands-on with his daughters. Mm-hmm. He was very strict. He wanted to make sure that we didn't get messed up in any misdirections. So I thought that I was going to have a problem with him. And he said, no. He said, I think that's a great idea.
Oh, okay.
So I had my parents' support, and that's all I needed.
Yeah. You've been a pioneer in so many things. Like I said in the intro, you became the first Black woman to win Miss Ohio USA. That was a time when America still had many doors closed. What gave you the boldness to walk into a room knowing you were going to change it?
Well, I guess that's something that's with me, because you also mentioned in the intro that I was one of the first Black women to be a news anchor. In actuality, I was the only.
Oh, my God.
There were no other ones.
Oh, wow.
So I was always stepping into the first here, the first that, the first this.
Yeah.
I was writing a list of first for the autobiography. And finally, I got to the point I told my manager, Gregory Almerson, that I can't make this less because it's way too long.
Yeah, really.
But there were so many things that I just took great pride in. And my parents taught me to believe in myself, Mm-hmm. And I just took them for their word. Yeah. And I started modeling when I was in 10th grade. I was playing basketball before there was even Title IX. And I created my own basketball team in high school. We challenged all the other grades, and my team always won because I picked the greatest people there.
Yeah.
So, just in terms of masterminding the process was always something that I was very proud of. And when I joined the May Company Fashion Board.
I haven't heard that in a while.
I know, right? That's been a while.
Yeah.
But they had representatives from each school in Lake County and Cuyahoga County, and they had a fashion board, and once a month we would do shows and have meetings downtown. Wow. And here I am thinking, no, this is normal. This is, exactly what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And then at Girls Nation, I was elected from my class to run for the governor of the state of Ohio.
Really?
And yeah. In the government program, Girls State and Girls Nation. Uh-huh. And so I'm on the bus, and my classmate said, Jayne, you should run for governor. And I said, okay.
Why not?
And then I got there. I did not win governor, but at the end of the 2 weeks, they had nominated me to be one of the 2 senators from Ohio to represent our state in Washington, D.C. at Girls Nation. Ah. And when I got there, I said, okay, now, if we're going to do the same thing, campaign for 1 week, and then you work for the second week, if I run for president, there's nothing to do the second week because we are senators. So, but the senators run the Senate. So I'm going to run for vice president. And I won, and I became vice president, and I was sworn in by Spiro T. Agnew, who was vice president of the United States at that time.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And I ran the Senate for the rest of the week. Wow. I had marvelous experiences and exchanges with so many of the amazing girls that attended. But it gave me the strength to know that I could keep going forward. And this was a time when we were having the Huff riots.
I remember those.
President Kennedy was assassinated. His brother Bobby was assassinated. Dr. King was assassinated. We had riots throughout the country. Yeah. We had anti-Vietnam War. And this was during the time of the Vietnam War. And we had all these anti-Vietnam protests and women's rights movements and Black empowerment, Black Panther.
Yeah.
There was so much going on in the 60s. And I just took it all in. And it was so exciting to me to know that I could be a part of it. And so that's what I did. And I took all of that with me when I went to California, knowing that if I was determined on something, if I had my mind set on it, somehow or another, I was going to make it happen.
Yeah, and you make so much happen. I mean, you might as well just have a T-shirt say "winning," okay, in big letters, winning, because you're always winning, and you have that attractor factor. You know, you just seem to attract the right opportunities, the right people, and I think it's just your spirit. You just have that magnetic spirit. What can we say, Jayne? You know, you just got it like that.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I mean, you went from, Jayne living in Wickliffe, Ohio, to being Jayne Kennedy, the public figure. Was there one moment when you knew, my life is never going to be the same? I feel it in my soul.
I think that would have been at Girls Nation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because here I was, in the nation's capital, being sworn in by the Vice President of the United States.
Yeah.
And so between that time when I was 17 and looking forward at the office, and that was an opportunity that I had conquered, there wasn't anything in between that I felt that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So when I did go to Los Angeles, I had a really firm belief that I could make things happen. Most of the time, though, I have to say, things came out of nowhere. Things that I just hadn't planned at all, and they just came falling at my feet. So I do have to say that I was blessed in many ways, and acknowledge that many of the ways was because of God, because God was a very important factor in my life. Has always been. Yeah. But, like things just come out of nowhere. Like you think you have to go to Hollywood and you're going to go to audition after audition. And I knew that was the process, but I really didn't get many jobs doing it that way. I just fell into opportunities. And I just considered myself to be blessed to have those opportunities come my way. Yeah,
absolutely. And what a blessing. In your book, you opened up with a powerful poem about pain, hiding, and ultimate healing. Can you share what that piece means to you, and as far as writing it, and why you felt like in your soul you wanted to get that out?
Well, you have many ups and downs in your life. And some of them, they cause you to reflect on your purpose in life. And I had almost drowned when I was with the Dean Martin show, and we were in Hawaii.
Okay.
And
this was a Dean Martin Dingaling show?
The Dingaling Sisters with Dean Martin.
Yeah.
And we were the opening act for Frida Payne. Band of Gold was a big hit at that time.
It sure was.
I was so excited out of my mind.
I can hear that song in my head. Band of Gold. Okay, keep talking, Raven. Don't sing. Okay, I got it. Yeah, but go ahead. So it was during that time.
I had an experience where I was caught in a tide, and I was swimming. I had gone out in the water with a friend, but he came into shore before I did. So I was out there on my own. The beach was empty, and he left me behind, and I got caught in an undertow. My hair got tumbled in the mask. I couldn't see. I couldn't gasp. Every now and then I'd be tossed in the air, and I just knew it was over. And someone came and grabbed my hand and took me over to a boulder that was very nearby, and it was protruding above the water line. And we sat there for some time, and he was teaching me about the colors of the water and what that means in terms of depth. And he just felt so warm, and he had saved me, He literally saved my life. And so he said, well, let me just hold your hand until we get back to shore.
Yeah.
And so we swam into shore, and I'm holding his hand. I'm 2 feet behind him. And when we get to where the water is able to stand, and I stand up and I drop his hand, I turn around to look around for about 3 seconds. I turn back around, and he was gone. On a huge beach.
That was the angel.
He was my angel. I know that with all my heart.
Yeah. I believe
I,
that so much. I remember hearing that, and it made me think about Jayne. I remember one time, one of the things my dad said when he passed away was, Raven, take care of the family, you know. And I remember being so mad because I wanted to hear, I love you, but that's was his last words to me. And when I was leaving Houston to come to California, I said, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go ahead and stop by the, his resting place and just tell him, Dad, I got to go. I can't take care of the family no more. They want to take care of themselves.
yeah.
And I couldn't find a gravesite, Jayne. And kind of sort of like what you experienced, there was this white dog. I turned around because I was crying. I'm like, oh my God, it was raining. I was crying. I can't find my dad's gravesite. And there was this big white dog, Jayne. And it was leading me to it. It led me to it. And I was kind of scared because the dog was big, but I just went on and followed. It led me to the grave, and I looked up and the dog was gone. So when I heard you say that, it brought me back to those times. So that's when it's
Wow.
bigger than you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I called my mom immediately once I got back to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Jayne, it was not your time. And she said, what the message is not is you need to find your purpose. You have a purpose and you have not found your purpose yet.
Uh-huh.
So the reason I told that story was to tell you in part to the answer of your question was that I was always looking for my purpose.
And you found many purposes for sure.
I found many. Yes, I did.
And let me ask you this, what you think. But when I think of Jayne Kennedy or Jane Harrison, I always think of inspiration. You just inspire so many people that it can happen. They can do it if they just stay authentically themselves. And
Amen.
And that's what I always know about you in the time that I've known you. It's still hard for me to believe it's been a couple decades now, that you're so authentic, and you inspire without even trying to inspire. And that's why everybody was so excited when you made your big comeback. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
I'm watching you get all these awards and things, and I'm just like almost got tears in my eyes because I'm like, I remember you telling me about this book in 2006, 2007. You're back, and everybody's so excited. And I got to ask you, and then we're going to take a quick commercial break. How was it to go back to hometown, to Ohio? Number one, you get to see your mom again, but to go back, that had to be, you've done so many different book tours, but that had to be a very special one, right?
That definitely was. And my brother too, my two sisters still live there.
Oh, okay.
My brother Herb, who had a horrible accident and he's now paralyzed from the neck down.
Uh-huh.
And he was a fantastic basketball player. He played for Marquette University.
Oh.
But he's just amazing. And so, I had to make sure that I go see him and my mom. Mm-hmm. And my other sisters, the opportunity to go to the convention and see all the people that were, this was like one of the first stops in our tour. And it was just so overwhelming that, here is all these people when they remembered, because I've been away for like 30 years.
30.
And
wow.
And here I am now, and I'm having people running up to me saying, "Oh my God!" And they're not my age. There's always fans that are my age, but here we have younger women. My mom used to tell me all about you. Oh, I remember my dad made us sit in front of the television set every Sunday and watch you, and he would tell us, "You see that black woman there?
Yeah.
If she can do it, you can do it too."
There you go.
And even Oprah told me that she and Gail used to sit in front of the TV and whenever I came on, and they would say, "Color people on TV, color people on TV, yay, Jayne Kennedy, man, and we can do it too." She said it made them believe that they could keep going, and just to know that inspires people.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it when it was happening.
Yeah.
I was just working, I was just doing my jobs, trying to survive.
Yeah.
And it was such a difficult challenge every single day, every step of the way. There were reporters that did not want women in the broadcast booth at all, because newspaper writers, their story comes out the next day. But the NFL Today was live.
Yeah.
And so when we had stories, they were live.
Yeah.
And we were the first station that would do that, live intros into every single thing that was happening before the game started, during the halftime and post times.
Oh.
And so, it was a huge responsibility. We won Emmys for the show. People have been just raving about it. When I was on the show, the numbers just kept going up and up and up.
Yeah.
There were so many people that believed in me and wanted to support me.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it was Chicago Bears running back. Oh my gosh, his name just slipped my mind. But he would tell everyone he's in the league, he said, we're going to take care of Jayne. We're going to take care of Jayne. No, if she wants to do an interview, we'll do them. We're going to take care of Jayne because we're so proud of her. And Doug Williams would tell me that so many of the players, they would say the same thing. Yeah. We're going to take care of Jayne. And when I predicted that Tampa Bay would win and everybody else went the other way, they said Philadelphia would win in their first playoffs. Tampa Bay won.
Of course. Oh, my goodness.
And Jimmy the Greek came over and grabbed my arm and he said, don't you ever do any more predictions on this show. I said, he asked me, what did I think? I told you what I thought. I'd done some research. So, then the next week they're coming back to Tampa Bay. And the driver picked me up at the airport. And he said, I'm not going to take the freeway if you don't mind. I want to take you through the town because I want to show you something. So we're driving through the streets and there's signs all over the buildings. And they say, to hell with Cosell. We've got Jayne.
To hell with Cosell. We got Jayne. Oh, and my goodness.
For your listeners that don't know what Cosell is, Howard Cosell was the most famous newscaster ever.
Great man.
And
yeah.
I think it was like 50% people hated him, 50% loved him.
Yeah.
And they all talked about, 100%. They'd watch him and hear everything he'd say.
Oh, my goodness.
But, it was such a joy to have that support from the players. It was just amazing. When I was hired, the interview went, and when Brent got to me, he got up after our interview, and he went into the booth, and he said, it's Jayne or nobody.
There you go. Absolutely. He knew you were the right person. He knew it. First of all, we're going to take a quick break, but I got to say, Jayne, good things come to those who wait. And this was certainly worth the wait, speaking with you today. So thank you again. What a journey this has been so far. And the best part for all of you tuning in, we still got so much more to cover when we come back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we're going to return with Jayne, and we're going to talk about, 6-week trial that almost ended her broadcasting career before it even began, the unforgettable moment Muhammad Ali himself saved the day. I love listening to that one. And later, the painful betrayal that sent Jayne into hiding, and how that experience led her to finally be ready to tell her story, and we're so glad she did, in her own words. So don't go anywhere. And just want to remind you, you're listening to Amazing Women and Men of Power, Legends and Icons, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our phenomenal guest today has been none other than the beautiful, the bold, the brilliant Jayne Kennedy. I call her Lady Jayne. That's just me, okay? She's here with us, opening her heart and sharing the journey behind her powerful new memoir, Playing Jayne, available now. And speaking of the book, let me tell you, you may have heard me say earlier, I have this in 3 formats. I got it in a book first. Then I said, I love listening to audio. And then I said, you know what? I want it on Kindle too, because then I can make it big for these 74-year-old eyes. You know what I'm saying? So let me tell you, it's not just a memoir, y'all. It's bold. It's beautiful. It's healing. It's there's funny parts in it. It's a master class in resilience and grace and in facing the truth head on. Whether you prefer paperback, Kindle, or audio, make sure you get your copy today. Do like me, get them all. And yes, grab one for a friend too. It's the holiday season. And even if you're listening to this, it's past the holiday season, it's a birthday, it's something, give it to someone. Make it a perfect gift. Trust me, you'll want to read it cover to cover and then listen to it like I have. Because sometimes the best stories are the ones we hear with our hearts, but it's good to get the book and the highlighter because you want to highlight your different parts and stuff too. Playing Jayne, available now on Amazon and at your favorite bookstore. You know which store you go to. Go get it.
And You can also get the book at JayneKennedy.com.
Ooh.
And that's my website. And when you get there, you will find a surprise waiting for you because I developed a fragrance line, and it's called Jayne Kennedy Sun and Jayne Kennedy Moon.
Ooh.
So when you go to JayneKennedy.com, you can purchase all of them together, either or. But anyway, you'll enjoy it. And we can talk about it after the break.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? So I just want to encourage everyone to get the book. And also, we want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. You guys have been supporting us when we were just Women Power. Then we went to Amazing Women and Men of Power. And this year, we've been doing our big celebrity series. In fact, I think Jayne is like 98. I got 2 more that we recorded. We haven't aired yet. Jayne will be airing all through the holiday. Yes, we're going to leave her on there because we want you to listen to it, bring your family back. So starting today, as you're listening to this, you're going to be able to come back any day and listen to it on both our streaming radio station as well as our podcast. How cool is that? So I am already feeling so full from this conversation. I know you, the audience, are too. So, Jayne, we're going to dive back in because I want to respect your time. But we've got a few more questions we want to ask you. And I think right now I want to talk about Jayne Kennedy, the trailblazer, the beauty queen, the actress, the groundbreaking broadcaster. That's a lot that one little person like you could do. How did you keep the balance with all that?
Well, I guess it helps to be 5'10".
Yeah, she's not small, y'all. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot to balance, you know. And were there a long gap between those different adventures that you ventured into?
No, there were never any gaps between.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, it was just like I told you, you're winning one thing after another, and you attract these opportunities. So how did you really seriously keep the balance and keep yourself so well grounded too?
It was hard because, you know, like being on the road, this was, again, back in the day. Mm-hmm. And so you didn't have all of the components that make up, you know, being on the road today. Mm-hmm. with these big vans and these big buses and an entourage and people handling your social media, people handling your wardrobe, people handling everything, your hair, your makeup, and all that's taken care of for you. And here I was on the road. You know, when I was with the Dingaling sisters, there were 4 girls, and we traveled in one car, and our road manager was the driver. And then the next car would be the guy that ran the band that we would pick up along the way. Mm. So, and we would do one-nighters. Sometimes we would do 3 cities in one night. And it was rough. It was rough, but I learned a lot. It was me. I was the first Black girl to be a dancer on the Dean Martin show. And actually, I should mention that when I was on the Dean Martin show, about the 3rd or 4th weekend, they were getting so many letters saying, "Who's the new white girl?" And so I started wearing my afro.
You like, don't get it twisted. Wear my afro.
Do not get it twisted.
Yeah. I almost choked on my water.
Even on the road, I would wear my wig. And, you know, we came into some challenges. You know, you would think that, you know, the trouble that you would have when you're a Black person traveling on the road, that would have been the 60s, the 50s, the 40s. Mm. But here we were in the 70s, and I thought it was behind me. Mm. But yes, we still had issues, you know. I remember in Beaumont, Texas, the owner would not seat my sister. And she came to me and she said, I'm going to go home. And I said, what's wrong? She said, they said that they don't seat Blacks. Blacks are not allowed. Wow. So I said, well, I started putting my clothes back on. Mm. And I said, you know, that my manager said, well, what's going on? And I said, well, they Blacks are not allowed, so I'm going back to the hotel. Mm. And everybody started arguing, and they called Los Angeles, talked to the producer, and talked to the guy that owned the show. Mm. And everybody's yelling and screaming and everything, and I'm not going anywhere until they seat my sister. Mm. And by then, the kitchen staff had heard, because we were screaming, and we were right next door to the kitchen. And so they all sat down and they wouldn't start feeding. And so now the audience is angry and everybody's screaming at everybody. And so finally the owner said to the other 3 girls, well, can't you just go on stage without one performance, like if somebody's sick? And Tara, the one person I thought that would not stand up, she was the first to say, we are the Dingaling sisters. If Jayne doesn't go on, nobody goes on.
There you go. Really?
And so there was awesome, nothing else they could do. They finally gave my sister a seat. But that was in 1972. And here we're still having these racial issues. You know, we finish a show and we go to a late night spot to get some food. And I could never go in. It was a truck stop most of the time. And so they would always have to bring the food out to me. Yeah. I went to a little drugstore once. I went in to buy some. We all bought treats and mine was stacked on the counter. And when everybody was done, she hadn't rung up mine. So I said, well, can you ring up mine? And she said, we don't serve niggers.
Oh my God, are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, so I took mine and said, oh, so mine is free. And I left.
There you go. I love it. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So yeah, we went through all of that, you know. It really made you grow up fast, you know. Yeah. And I was on the road more than I was home during the 10 years that Leon and I were married. And I mean, we had a 10-year plan to reach a goal. And in that 10 years, we actually did conquer that 10-year plan. But at the end of the 10 years, we were no longer together.
Well, we're going to get to that pretty soon, but I want to talk about, I call it the Ali turning point, because Jayne, you wrote about that pivotal moment when CBS couldn't get an interview with Muhammad Ali, and you boldly said, I can get it. I love listening to that. In fact, I was listening to it again yesterday. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was only my second day because, you know, they didn't want to hire me. And I think I said it before about they were having troubles with the Southern affiliates. Yeah. And they didn't want to put 2 blacks on the show and 1 white. So the answer was to put Jimmy the Greek, and then that would have 2 whites and 2 blacks. But I only got a 6-week trial. They didn't sign me for the whole year. So I guess here was another test starting all over again, you know, and here they're not even assisting me. I had asked for help, you know, training, this, that, and the other, show me the ropes. I didn't step into the studio when we were going on air the first day. So I didn't even know what the place looked like. Yeah. Wow. And so here I am, you know, trying to make my way through, you know, but they did not want a black girl on the show. The newspaper reporters did not want the black girl on the show. They did not want a woman, period. So it was a struggle all the time. There was such resentment. But my piece was that I didn't really care what they wrote. What I cared about is the players and how they responded. And I had nothing but gratitude. Nothing but clarity. I mean, they asked Joe Namath to do a show with me, and he said, nah, I don't want to. And they said, well, Jayne Kennedy, yeah, I'll be there.
You were always on ready mode. You know, they say she ready, that saying. You were always on ready mode and yes. And always bold and courageous. It was like, don't hold me back. They're like, well, we don't want black women on the, you know, doing that, on leading the sports and stuff like that. And you're like, you know, you just calmly just say, hey, watch me now, right? Watch me now. But
it was because, you know, I knew a lot of these people. Yeah. So that was a big plus for me. And I knew that would be when I auditioned for the show. So here we are in the second week of my contract. And I hear them arguing about the fight in New Orleans, Leon Spinks and Muhammad Ali. And I don't know what perked me to do it, but I put my hand up and I said, excuse me. They turned and they looked at me. And I said, I can get you the interview. And they said, who are you?
Yeah.
I said, wow. I'm the person who can get you the interview. Do you want the interview or not? And they said, okay, so what are you talking about? I said, you put me on a private jet, send me down to New Orleans right now. I will call Ali and I will get the interview and I'll have it back for your show, Sports Spectacular, tomorrow before your show starts. Wow. Now, Sports Spectacular wasn't even where I worked. I was hired by the NFL Today. But I just wanted to prove this point, you know, so they put me on the jet, sent me down. I called Ali. He said, I'll have the key waiting at the front desk. Just meet me in my suite. And so we all set up in the suite waiting, and the fight's over, and we're waiting and waiting. And I'm so anxious. I'm like, oh my God, please walk through the door. Please walk through the door. Because if you don't, I'm canceled from this show forever.
Oh my goodness.
He walks in and he walks into the camera and he punches the lens and he says, I only do this for my friend Jayne Kennedy.
There you go.
Because she's the greatest, just like I'm the greatest.
Wow. That is,
and I never forgot that.
because she's the greatest, just like I'm the greatest.
yeah, that's what he said. And you best believe I never forgot that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay,
so I go back to New York. I give them the show. I come back Sunday night back home in LA. And Monday morning, the phone is ringing like crazy. And I answer the phone and says, Jayne Kennedy? I said, yes. And they said, we picked up your contract for the rest of the year.
Oh, my goodness. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You, like I said, a tractor factor. Okay, so I got to ask you this because even though you handled those situations well, was there any time in your quiet time, Jayne, that kind of stuff got to you?
Absolutely. Because part of it had to do with the way I described when I was traveling on the road. I was always alone. Traveling by myself, hotel rooms by myself, having people tell me at the front desk, no, you can't go walking by yourself in this neighborhood. Stay in your room, and it became a very lonely existence. There was no internet, no Google. There was no way of staying in touch with people. And back then, phone calls still cost to make a call. And I wasn't paid that much to begin with. So there wasn't much that I could do. And so here I was on the road all by myself, flying all across the country, sometimes intercontinental, and doing amazing stuff. On TV, it all looks, like roses. And then, like I said in the beginning of the book, when you first read the intro in the beginning of the book, it talks about the beauty of the black swan and how gracefully she crosses the water top.
Yeah.
But underneath, she's struggling and she's paddling as fast as she possibly could. And that was me. I was the black swan. And it was hard. Sometimes I cried. Sometimes I cried so long. And I ended up praying, and the prayer was all that could offer me help. Sometimes I got sick. Sometimes I couldn't figure out what I was doing. What was my purpose? My mom had always told me, you have a purpose, you have to find it. And here I am doing all of this, and I still don't know what my purpose is. And there's people that are, the problem with the Playboy magazine, people that are turning their backs on me all the time. When CBS fired me, the Chicago newspaper, black newspaper, they turned their back on me. They said Jayne should have kept that job if she had to kiss blankety blank, because that's how much she meant to our culture. And she was opening doors. And by slapping them in the face and quitting, she closed that door for us. And now probably they won't be hiring anybody else. They didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't quit the show. I was fired.
Yeah.
And I was fired through no fault of myself. They had given me written approval to do the show that they were accusing me of signing to do with a competing network. But I actually had asked the president of the sports department, and he gave me a written approval statement that I could do the work. But nobody knew that. Nobody knew that but me. And then when the media comes out and CBS is telling everybody Jayne broke her contract, she went there. Even Brent Musburger thought that. They showed me a clip when they were doing a recap of an anniversary show 2 years ago, and it was to air before the Super Bowl, and they celebrating the 50th anniversary, and Brent and I are the only living survivors. So they wanted to have the two of us on the show. And I said, as long as you know that I will tell my truth, then I'll be on the show.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking they're going to cut it out anyway,
Yeah.
When it aired, they left the whole thing in. And then they showed me a clip of the season after they had fired me. There was Thomas Henderson. He was with the Dallas Cowboys before.
Okay.
And he was on the show. And after the interview with Brent, he turned to Brent and he said, "We miss our queen. We miss Jayne Kennedy. We miss our queen." And they asked me to respond, and I couldn't, because I knew the significance of being there. It wasn't just for me.
Yeah.
It was for our people, our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It was for the athletes, many of them who had never gotten recognition before,
Mm-hmm.
many of them who not, it was hard.
I can tell. I can tell.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm. A lot of that
it was
stuff's
hard.
still painful.
It is.
I can tell. I can tell. But you know what? You have always, like I said earlier, been just an inspiration, whether you wanted to or not, whether you knew it or not, because unfortunately, we all go through different experiences in our life and we never know where it's going to take us, right? We never know. And we do have to have those moments when we have to kind of get beyond ourselves and say, I've got to do this. Of course I got to do it for myself, but I got to do it to represent, right? And
Yeah.
and be there so that the next person won't have to go through this. And we can't end this conversation today, of course, without going to the deep part of your story, what kept you silent for years, and why you're talking about it now so openly. And I do this in deep love and respect for you. In Plain Jane, you finally speak for the first time about the intimate tape that was stolen, the betrayal that came from all that, and how it silenced you. And of course, I'm laying in bed crying. I'm sure women everywhere were crying on this, just hearing it. And that's why I told you on the phone, I love that audio. I'm so glad you did it. And you didn't use AI, and I'm a big AI fan, but I'm glad you used your voice. How did it feel to finally write those words, to put it in paper, and even more so to actually hold the book in your hand, your book, and see those words finally written?
I still regret that I had to write it, and I say had to write it, that not by someone else's, but by my standards,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because it was private.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt that I wanted people to see all of me, to see who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did not discuss that, people would probably think that I was hiding. And there are a lot of people that never heard about it.
Of course, yeah.
So,
Years later.
Here I am now opening it up to more people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a consideration as well. But to me, I wanted to have it told in my own words, in my own truth, because there are so many people out there that are telling mistruths, that are hating on Leon, and it wasn't his fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I owed it to him. I owed it to me to tell the story the correct way. I owed it to my children. And so I had to do it. But initially I had written it as it fell in my life. The first quarter, my childhood; second quarter, Hollywood; third quarter, my family, my marriage to Bill Overton, my kids, Savannah, Copper, Zaire, Cheyenne. And then we get to the fourth quarter. Because it wasn't until my children were born that happened. And a lot of people think that, they got divorced and all of a sudden the tape comes out.
That's what happened, yeah.
And that's not what happened at all. It was 10 years later. And I had already remarried and I had children. And now you're going to, submit my children to this? Too many people had the wrong conception. Let me just say that.
Yeah, and that's how it is with a lot of things. People get the wrong, because they don't know. Yeah.
The misconceptions lead to so many other paths that are right. So in my own words, I told exactly what happened. And I also said that it was someone else who had stolen the tape, because I had hired the FBI and they never could find anyone. They never could find any answers. But many years later, I found out because of a deathbed confession. And it was Leon's cousin confessing to his other cousin that it was him who had done it.
Did he say why?
He needed drugs.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am so sorry that happened to both you and Leon. But again, this is you being courageous, you doing something, and so people could hear it from you. Like you said, what really happened, instead of trying to put the pieces of puzzle together, which everybody did. And the reception from this book and you opening up like that, because you could have did the book and not even mention that, True. It was so bold, and this is why people are welcoming you back so much, and they're just so excited about it,
But for 10 years, when I just went into hiding, I suffered tremendously.
Yeah,
My
depression.
children,
You talked about that.
my children were the ones that saved me. My children, my husband, they saved me. But I never went outside of that realm because I felt I couldn't let people see me. I couldn't look at people.
Yeah.
And it was too hard emotionally, spiritually. It was too hard. And it changed everything about me, changed everything about my life. And it wasn't until I was able to come to terms with it myself that I was able to find me again. I talked to my children about it. The first time I talked to Savannah about it, she was maybe 10. It was Mayor Bradley had passed away, and we were at the funeral, and Stevie Wonder was singing, and we were sitting with him, and we were talking, and I'm saying, people go so quickly, and you don't understand how, what is the purpose of life and all of that. And I'm saying, well, what if something happened to me and I'm gone and I've never had a chance to tell this story that had just nearly ruined my life. And I said, I have to tell my daughter. So I took her to a restaurant right after the ceremony, and I told her. And you know what she did?
What?
She just grabbed my hand and she just looked into my eyes and she said, "We got you, Mommy."
Oh, you got the sweetest girls. But I know, oh my God, that had to mean the world to you, for her to do that, to just be there for you and say that. Is that when you knew, okay, it's time for me to?
Yeah.
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 That definitely makes sense. Yeah. Right after that chapter in your book, after the betrayal and the pain, you wrote something that truly stopped me in my tracks. It was a prayer that you wrote. And if it's okay, I'd love to share just a piece of that. May I?
Yes.
Okay. You said, God, I'm ready to do your work. Forgive me. Help me be a better child of God. Guide my words, quiet my ego. Let your light shine through my broken places. That moment to me, Jayne, felt like surrender, felt like strength and purpose all wrapped into one. What were you feeling in that moment that led you to write that prayer?
I was always reaching for help because I felt that I didn't have answers right then. There's another prayer in there. It's written as a poem.
Okay.
And it talks about how the shame had broken me, and everywhere I looked, I couldn't find comfort. But, God kept telling me to look up instead of looking at my feet. And, outside of my home, it was always looking at my feet. Inside my home, I was plain Jayne. And my daughters loved me. My husband loved me. And that was good enough for me at that time.
Your husband, Bill, he is quite a hubby, ain't he?
He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
He is. And you talk about how much strength he was. And, I remember the part in the book when you said that Leon came over to the house, and I thought that was great that he spoke to both of you, even though your wonderful husband, Bill, offered to leave and give you guys privacy, That had to be hard for all of you. I had to give, when I heard that, Leon props for, doing that, saying, no, you need to stay here. But Bill has been there. He's such a wonderful guy. In less than 30 seconds, tell us something beautiful about your hubby, because he's amazing.
Okay, so that's going to be this going to be way more than 30 seconds.
Okay, but, you got it. I'm on your time.
But when the Playboy article came out, and everybody had turned their backs on me, and I didn't know where to turn to. Honestly, I didn't. And Bill called me and he says, "I'd like to come meet you and have lunch with you today." And I said, well, have a meeting with my manager and this time. And it's only be an hour. You can meet me, this place. So he got there when I got there in the building, and he was waiting. And the meeting went on for 2 hours, and he still waited. And we finally went to the restaurant, and we were talking, and he looked at me. He said, Jayne, how are you? Because we were talking about the Playboy magazine. Mm-hmm. And he said, how are you? And I started talking about, the media, this, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, how are you? Oh. And I didn't know how to answer that. Mm-hmm. But he was looking at my soul, not the media, not the Jayne Kennedy that everybody knew. And because he had been a friend of ours for maybe 10 years.
Yeah,
at that point.
That's been in the book. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And he was married to someone else, So here was a friend just coming to rescue by asking just a few simple words. How are you? Mm-hmm. And think about it. Don't give me a fake answer.
Yeah.
Think about it. How are you?
He was really wanting to know. Yeah, it wasn't an on the surface question. It was a deep, heartfelt question. Yeah, he's wonderful. I was so, when I met him at your birthday party you invited me to, I think it was your 60th birthday party.
65th.
Uh-huh. He was just such a nice person, boy. He really is. And you could see the love all over. So be sure to tell him, hi, Bill.
Okay, I will.
And your daughters, and now you're a grandmother. You got 2 grandkids?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Beautiful. King Yari. Those are pictures. Oh, my God. So
King cool. Yari will be 18 tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness.
No, Friday. What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
He'll be 18 on Friday.
No, today's Thursday. No, today.
Oh.
Today, Thursday, yeah. Uh-huh.
Today's Thursday. You're right. Tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, this time is gone. I got to let you go. But you know what? This has been so wonderful. I probably got about 6 more questions, but that's okay. I'm happy. I'm full. I know the listeners are happy and full. Thank you, because I know you squeezed me in. And I just hope I made you proud, because you have really inspired me as a talk show host. Just saying.
Thank you. I have one other experience that with Bill that I wanted to share as well. Mm-hmm. I had endometriosis, and I was in so much pain I had to stop working completely. I couldn't even do one sit-up. This was the height at I Love Your Body. Mm-hmm. I had just signed a contract with Coca-Cola for a 6-year contract to do representation for them. Mm-hmm. Everything was going extremely well. And then I got endometriosis, and I couldn't do one sit-up, and I couldn't even walk. Mm-hmm. And we searched everywhere for a cure or something, and apparently there was no cure. And one day, after about a year of searching, my OBGYN said, there was one thing that can help, and that's pregnancy. And I said, okay. I went home. I told Bill, I called him when he comes over, and I said, I'm going to have a baby. I want to have your baby. And he said, well, we're not even married. I said, yeah, well, we got to get on it.
You better hurry up. Get that ring. And now you have 3, right?
We have 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And beautiful.
And he's a fantastic father. Fantastic father.
And you were meant to be a mom. You were meant to be a mom. Because another thing I learned about you, faith and family are very important to you. Very important to you. And during the time, I know, of course, that situation took you back, but you enjoyed being the soccer mom.
I did.
I know you did. I remember.
Of course I did.
I remember talking to you about, well, I'm going to respect your time. Thank you so much. This has been another dream come true. It was the first time I said it was a dream come true, and I'm saying it again because it's been so long we talked about this interview, but it was well worth the time, my friend. Thank you so much, and thank you for all that you've done. This book is beautiful. Your perfume is out now. It's literally out.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes. So I've got to go to that site and get me that. And
visit JayneKennedy.com.
Yeah.
And you can still order. You can order it, and you can still get it by Christmas.
I can. Oh my God! I got to get some. I'm gonna have Khalid get it for me. Yeah, I sure will. Final question: What's next for you? You got the book, you got the perfume. I know you're still going on tour with the book, but what's next? Is there anything that you really want to do before you hit 104?
Okay, well, I have several pieces that I've written along the years that might pop up somewhere. Oh. But at this point, I'm looking at doing a biopic.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Good.
Doing a biopic or a feature film based on the book. Yeah,
that'll be good.
And we've got some meetings up and running at this point, so we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Absolutely. Well, you guys go get the book. We didn't touch hardly on anything. You're going to find out so much about it. One of the surprises I found out, Jayne, was that you and Bill had a play or a movie or something that won a lot of awards or something.
Oh, yeah. The Journey of the African American.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. So you guys are going to find so many surprises. Have your handkerchief, but, there's going to be so many good things. Get the audio, get the physical book, and also get the Kindle. You'll love that you have all three. I promise you that.
Yeah, we won the NAACP Image Award for Best Producers.
You sure did.
Yeah.
And you got all these awards. The past year, I've just watched you get awards as you came out. I'm like, another one. I've seen a few on your shelf, but I know you got them everywhere and that's just people are so excited for you to come back out. And I know your heart must feel really good knowing that you did the right thing. And I know your kids are so proud of you. Your grandkids are going to be so proud of you. And thank you for always being you, my friend. I love you.
Thank you so much, Raven. Love you.
Okay.
And I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. You're gonna make me cry.
I knew you from day one when you first started doing this, and I'm so proud of you that you kept to it.
I kept to it, and thanks to you. Thanks to you. All right, my friend. Tell Gregory I asked. Okay.
Okay. Love you.
All right. Love you, Jayne Kennedy. Okay. Y'all go get her book. Yay.
Yeah.